Hello there, friends. Today we'll be creeping on the new boys on the block, the latest arrival to our adventuring buddies and one many adventurers have been eagerly waiting to arrive. Today we'll be looking at the rabbit men who have taken to adventuring in Eorzea in large numbers. So grab some happiness juice and let's drink up, because you better believe that it's time to look at the male Viera. The male Viera, the bunbun boys with their skinny strong bodies and ridiculously sexy eyes that compete against Aymeric for the best cum doomy eyes. They also strike some of the best idol poses, standing around cities like fashion models for adventurers, sporting the latest and greatest glamours just so that they can be swooned over. But where'd all these male Viera all of a sudden come from? Their women were here years ago, so how'd the men just suddenly appear? What's their culture like and how do I interact with them? And lastly, as always, what do we know about their naming conventions? So let's get started. Well, to talk about how they got here, it'll be easier to start with where they came from and what their society is like. So let's start with that. The Viera all hail from the star's eastern continent of Orfad, and more specifically from the Golmor jungle that is part of the Kingdom of Dalmacia. The Rava Viera make their homes deep within said Golmor jungle, whereas the Vina Viera live in the northern parts of the jungle, on the hills and mountains on the southern side of the Skitay range. Both clans, from what we know, have the exact same culture and society, and that is to say a very matriarchal society. Mommy rules here. Viera villages are comprised solely and only of Viera women and children, and only female Viera children past the age of 13. The boys live with them in the village until this age, but are then made to leave the village when the next male visits, because that's when the boys are discovering their bodies. Puberty. And like any sane person, the Viera women want to nope away from that. Fun fact, male Viera children are indistinguishable from their female siblings before 13. Zero outward physical differences. Which, biologically speaking, leaves me quite confused due to how your bits should look down under. You know, your twig and two berries, your meat and two veg. My working theory is that the male Viera have an innie, or maybe they're like birds and have cloacas. And I'm gonna move on now because this line of thought is going places I don't think anyone is interested in. Now back to where we were. Viera boys are handed over to the first male bunbun that enters their village. But why do male rabbits enter a village full of nothing but beautiful bunbun ladies in the first place? Well, if you're actually seriously thinking about asking this question, you're probably too young to know. After this male has shared his 2 eggs and ham with his forever partner, he's tasked with taking all the 13-year-old boys out into the forest and making men out of them, raising and training them to become the only thing they are allowed to become: wood warders. Basically Batman if Batman killed literally everyone he sees. This training, though, is a real rough experience. They go through various combat trials that just straight up kills most of them. They learn to craft any tools, medical supplies, clothing and weapons they need from materials found in the forest, as well as what plants and animals are useful for food, medicines and poisons. They learn to strike and kill quickly and silently from the shadows, and blend perfectly in with their jungle surroundings. And after this training, they are full wood warders and will only have themselves to rely on. Zero safety nets. They live in complete solitude. But this training and lifestyle has probably resulted in them having the social skills of a bag of rocks. After all, once they're full woodwarders, the only interaction with any others they have is every 3 to 5 years, when that extra curvy tree just isn't doing it for them anymore. However, all what I just said is only true for the males who decide to stay and live as their ancestors did, in their traditional fashion. But many males and females leave the forest, even though it is strictly forbidden by their law. The green word. Personally, I believe many young males actually flee the forest during these years of training, or their teacher would actually let them escape, as they can see the males are unhappy or won't make good warders. But due to the green word, these males are considered as good as dead afterwards, as those who chose to leave may never ever return to the forest. They are seen as outsiders and treated as such. That is to say, killed on sight. So where would these males that choose to flee go? Well, most do what they've already become quite decent at: adventuring. Others seek out knowledge, and others still, as a race that is considered quite exotic, would enter into other fields. Or perhaps they never actually left. So how'd they get here? Well, much like the female Viera, this is a topic not many know the answer to. I've asked many of the Vieras I've come across, and the common answers were, I like Bunbun Boy, they're cute, ooh woo. Who are you? Go away. And just drink some juice of happiness. Fantasia, bro. Whatever that means. So clearly they're just dodging the question. But then I put on my tinfoil hat and realized they just sorta showed up in large numbers, and practically all of them are adventurers who know very little of their own race, the only exception being the handful of scholars in Old Charlian. There's also been a decrease in other races in the adventuring field. The female Viera arrived a few years prior to the males to seek out their males? No, to make males. Male Vieras don't have a joystick with 2 buttons because they don't reproduce like we do. They seek out a population of strong people. They then infect said population, in this case the adventuring population, and transform them into male Viera. That's why they're so strong in the lore. The Viera spread like a plague and will soon take over all the other races. The male Viera are already the 3rd highest population amongst adventurers. But how? How deep does this rabbit hole go? The moon bunbuns. Bunbuns just like the bunbuns. They live on the hollow moon, where they grow GMO carrots, which they use to make happiness juice. Happiness juice that make people bunbuns. Bunbuns making bunbuns through... I'm drinking... Oh no.
Hear me, hero. Endure. Survive. Live.
Our physical characteristics. We are, let's say, vertically challenged when compared to our female counterparts. On average, standing about 2¼ inches, 5.7 centimeters shorter than them. But we have suave, sexy eyes and bodies to die for. And never had a beer belly, it never happened, bury it. Many people may have noticed us cross-dressing, wearing women's clothing in public. Why? Well, it should be obvious. We've already won the hearts of literally all the women. So we decided it's time we win the hearts of all the men too. And it's working. Unfortunately though, this goal is ever so slightly hindered because of our state-mandated hairstyles. We have a very limited selection when compared to most other races. Most. Those poor Hrothgar. We also have a lot of trouble fitting most headwear on our, well, heads, thanks to our long bunbun floppy happy ears and long hair. But that's okay, because who would want to hide these perfectly sculpted faces? So now you're likely asking, how do I interact with your kind? Oh, you shouldn't worry about that. You'll treat us just like you would any of your adventuring friends. We can hang out, talk, drink some juice of happiness, go on adventures, do some maps. Join us by drinking some juice of happiness, idle looking sexy in the cities, stealing the hearts of your women and men. Perhaps enjoy a refreshing happiness juice? Then you'll understand. Join us. We're only growing stronger. Next is our naming conventions. Well, first names for both clans, the Viera and Rava, are the same and follow the exact same rule as the female Viera. They are inspired by real-world Icelandic names. So if you're looking for a traditional name, look at one of those, change a few letters but have it sound the same when said, and you'll have a traditional Viera name. However, male Viera last names, they follow a completely different rule from the female Viera. And I'm sorry, I honestly couldn't figure it out. There hasn't been an official source released for what they are yet, and there is no way to figure it out by just looking at them and from the information we currently have. For male Rava Viera, they either have the jit or ryu prefix attached to one of these 6 words, and for male Vina Viera, they always have one of these 12 words along with the suffix wes, whatever this is. But let's start by looking at these 18 different words. Well, they are not the names of Viera villages, or at least not any of the villages we know of. And we have a list of known Viera villages, so it would be strange for none of them to be used if these are supposed to be Viera villages. So that's out. So are they perhaps other Viera names? Unlikely, since none of these show up as names for either the male or female bunbuns. So perhaps they are their names of regions within the Golmore jungle, provinces, territories, or villages? We know near nothing about the jungle, so maybe? There's no proof for this, but I honestly can't think of what else it could be. All males are expected to defend the forest as wood warders, so perhaps this is the region of the forest they protect? I don't know. If you have any idea, or actually know, please do let me know. My guess is as good as anyone else's. As for the prefixes and suffix, we also have nothing to go on. I'm very much hoping they'll release the official lore behind the male Viera naming soon, because I am completely stumped here. Lastly, there's one more thing about male Viera naming that we need to talk about and that I cannot stress enough is very important. When they leave their forest, they very often abandon their traditional forest name and take on what is commonly called a city name. And that is anything. Literally anything. They can take on a name from another race. They can take on a word or phrase they like the sound of. So they can name themselves tree or keyboard. Just like the female Viera, literally every single name you have seen and will see above literally every single male Viera's head is technically a law-friendly city name. Fluffy Buns, Suave Eyes, or Bunbun McBunny Bun, they are possible lore-friendly names. That concludes our look at the male Viera. I hope you enjoyed. I don't have any more Fantasia, so I guess I'm a bunny boy now. Hopefully I can still wear most of my hats. I have a feeling I can't though. If you made it this far, please do that YouTube like comment thing. It helps with the YouTube algorithm overload and getting these things found. But for now, goodbye my friends, and have a great day.